Have you ever heard a story so heartbreaking it feels etched into the very fabric of time? A tale of a hero whose strength could move mountains, but whose heart was shattered by a fate he couldn't escape. Today we journey back to ancient Persia, long before the stars we know settled in the sky, to uncover the tragic legend of Rostam and his son, Sohrab. This isn't just a myth. It's a story about love, destiny, and a sorrow so profound still echoes in the desert winds. Our story begins with a name whispered in awe across sun-scorched deserts and over snow-capped mountains: Rostam. Son of the white-haired Zal, Rostam was more than a man. He was a living legend. His strength was the stuff of fireside tales, a bulwark against both mortal kings and malevolent demons. He was Persia's champion, the protector of its throne, a hero whose might seemed boundless. But even the mightiest heroes are but players in a grander story, one written by the unyielding hand of fate. And fate, as Rostam would learn, is a cruel and masterful storyteller. Far from the battlefields and royal courts where Rostam earned his fame, in the peaceful kingdom of Samangan, a young princess named Tamim had a dream. She dreamt of a lion, not a fearsome beast, but one of noble bearing and magnificent power, entering her chambers. The dream felt like a premonition, a whisper of a destiny she couldn't yet comprehend. The very next day, as if summoned by her dream, a stranger arrived in Samangan. It was Rostam, his brow furrowed with concern, searching for his legendary steed, the loyal and powerful Raksh, who had wandered off. When Rostam was brought before the princess, their eyes met, and in that single silent moment, something shifted in the cosmos. It was more than attraction. It was destiny igniting. A love as swift and powerful as a desert storm swept them both away. The air in the palace hall grew thick with unspoken promises and a connection that felt as old as time itself. They spoke for hours, the hero and the princess, finding in each other a kindred spirit. That night, under the watchful eyes of the Persian moon, their love was sealed. It was a union born of chance and destiny, a fleeting moment of profound connection. But this single night would ripple through history, for a child was conceived, a child destined to shake the foundations of two empires. From this union of love and legend, a son was born. Tamim named him Sohrab. From the moment he entered the world, it was clear he was no ordinary child. He carried his father's strength in his bones and his mother's regal grace in his spirit. As a boy, he was stronger, taller, and fiercer than any of his peers. While other children played games, Sohrab trained with seasoned warriors, his small hands already mastering the sword and shield. He grew up on stories of Persia's greatest hero, Rostam, and in his heart, a powerful longing took root, a deep, burning desire to find the father he had never met, the man whose name was a legend. But Rostam, back in the service of his king, never knew of the son he had fathered. Before he departed from Samangan, he had left a precious jewel with Tamim, an intricate armband. "If you bear a daughter," he'd instructed, "braid this into her hair. If a son, bind it to his arm, a token of his lineage." This jewel was the only physical link between father and son, a silent testament to their shared blood, waiting for the day fate would reveal its secret. Tamim, fearing she might lose her son to the dangers of his father's world, kept Rostam's identity a secret from everyone, including Sohrab himself, telling him only that his father was a great warrior. Years passed. Sohrab grew into a young man of formidable power and ambition, his reputation as a warrior spreading throughout the neighboring lands of Turan. Driven by the unquenchable need to prove himself and find the father who haunted his dreams, Sohrab made a fateful decision. He joined the army of Turan, Persia's sworn enemy, hoping that by challenging Persia's greatest champions, he would draw out the legendary Rostam. He marched at the head of a great army, his heart a storm of hope and warrior's pride, a son unknowingly marching to war against his own father's kingdom. The stage for our tragedy is now set. The dusty, blood-soaked plains between Persia and Turan. On the battlefield, names and lineage are lost, drowned out by the clang of steel and the cries of the fallen. Here, there are only soldiers, enemies, and the cold judgment of the sword. When the two armies faced each other, Sohrab, the champion of Turan, called for single combat with Persia's greatest warrior. The challenge was met. From the Persian lines, a lone figure emerged, a giant of a man whose presence alone seemed to still the battlefield. It was Rostam. Neither man knew the other's truth. Father and son, separated by armies and by fate, now stood as mortal enemies. Their duel was a sight of terrible beauty. It was as if the heavens themselves held their breath. Their swords flashed like captured lightning. Their shields rang out like thunder. Steel met steel in a furious dance of death. With every parry, every thrust, each man felt a strange, inexplicable connection to the other. It was a phantom ache in their bones, a bizarre sense of recognition, as if the very blood in their veins was crying out, trying to bridge the chasm of ignorance that separated them. They were perfectly matched, a mirror image of strength and skill across the chasm of a generation. Sohrab fought with the fire and passion of youth, his every move a testament to his raw power and burning desire to prove his worth. Rostam, weathered by countless battles, fought with the weight of experience and a deep, unspoken sorrow he couldn't yet name. The fight raged on, a whirlwind of strength and fury. They battled until dusk painted the sky in shades of blood and twilight, and then again the next day. The world seemed to shrink, containing only these two titans locked in their fateful struggle. Finally, in a desperate, decisive moment, Rostam, using a trick of a seasoned warrior, gained the upper hand. With a final, powerful thrust, his blade found its mark. Sohrab fell. The young champion of Turan crumpled to the ground, his immense strength draining away from him like the last light of a setting sun. As Rostam stood over his vanquished foe, he felt no triumph, only a hollow emptiness. He asked the young warrior his name, but Sohrab, with his dying breaths, spoke of his quest. He spoke of his father, the great Rostam, and how he would one day avenge his death. And then ... the truth. With a trembling hand, Sohrab pulled back his sleeve, revealing the armband, the jewel his mother had given him so many years ago. Time stopped. The air grew cold. In that single, heart-stopping moment, Rostam's world shattered into a million irreparable pieces. The hero who had faced demons and conquered kings was brought to his knees by a truth more devastating than any sword. He had slain his own son. A roar of pure, primal agony tore from Rostam's throat, a cry of such despair that it echoed across the mountains and made the distant stars tremble in the sky. He gathered Sohrab into his massive arms, his body shaking with uncontrollable sobs. His tears, the tears of a legend, fell onto the dusty, blood-stained earth, mingling with the lifeblood of his only son. There was no victory here. There was no glory. There was only the deafening silence of a love found and lost in the same tragic breath. He begged the heavens for mercy, pleaded with God for a miracle to turn back time. But fate does not reverse its course. When the pale light of morning broke over the horizon, the world seemed older, sadder. The vibrant colors of dawn felt muted, as if the earth itself was mourning. With a heart heavier than any mountain, Rostam buried his son with all the honors befitting a prince and a warrior. It was a king's farewell for the son he never knew. The wind, which had carried the sounds of their battle, now carried whispers of their story, a lament that would weave itself into the soul of Persia. And even now, they say, when the full moon hangs high and bright over the ancient lands of Persia, if you listen closely to the wind sighing through the canyons and across the dunes, you can still hear Rostam's cry, a father's eternal sorrow for his lost son. The tale of Rostam and Sohrab is not just a story of epic strength or heroic deeds. It's a timeless and profound lesson about fate. and how love and destiny can intertwine in ways that are both beautiful and exquisitely cruel. It reminds us that even the greatest legends, the most celebrated heroes, carry the immense weight of human sorrow, the burden of tears. Rest now, brave souls of Persia. Your story lives on in every whisper of the wind. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into one of history's most powerful tragedies. If this story moved you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more tales from the heart of mythology. Let me know in the comments what other legends you'd like to explore together. Until next time, stay curious.